We're not talking about ghosting someone after a bad date. We're talking about something much, much bigger. We're talking about a strategy where disappearing, making yourself absent, becomes your single greatest source of power. It's called the ghosting strategy, and it's a high-stakes play for sure. And this, right here, is the core idea. Think about it. Most of the time when people vanish, it's an act of surrender, right? They're giving up. This strategy flips that on its head. It transforms vanishing into the ultimate flex, the absolute final proof of your value. It's not about quitting. It's about forcing everyone to admit they simply can't afford to lose you. So you can forget everything you know about climbing the corporate ladder or playing by the old rules. This is about rewriting the game entirely. We're going to explore a kind of power where your absence, well, it becomes more valuable and honestly a lot more feared than your actual presence. Let's be really clear about what this is. This is not something that happens by accident. It's a protocol. It's a deliberate, systematic process of weaving yourself into the very fabric of a system. You embed yourself so deeply that pulling you out isn't just a headache, it's catastrophic. It basically makes your departure an act of self-sabotage for the very people who might want you gone. Okay, but hang on a second. We have to pause right there. Because that sounds fantastic, like the ultimate job security. But you have to ask the question, have you actually gained power, or have you just built yourself a really, really elegant prison? That's a fair question. So let's get into the mechanics of how this actually works. To really get the strategy, you have to understand the process. It's all about becoming that essential, unseen force that makes everything run. You become the literal ghost in the machine. And the path is incredibly methodical. So step 1, you have to integrate yourself into the core functions, the stuff that really matters. Then, step 2, you become the sole conductor. You're the only one who knows how all the pieces work together, the only one who can make the orchestra play. And the result? Well, that leads to step 3. Getting rid of you becomes an active organizational suicide. And this is the brilliant part, the real end game. You get to this point, this equilibrium, where your best interests and the system's best interests are exactly the same. It's not about them putting up with you anymore. It's about them actively protecting you, because they have to, for their own survival. Yeah, but that equilibrium you're talking about, it is dangerously fragile. A system, just by its nature, is designed to eliminate single points of failure. And guess what? An individual it can't control or replaces. It's the ultimate vulnerability. Sooner or later, that system is going to stop seeing you as an asset and start seeing you as a threat that has to be neutralized. And that right there brings us to the really dangerous side of this whole thing. The line you're walking is razor thin. 1 minute, you are the most valuable player on the team, but the next, you could be the biggest liability on the balance sheet. Look, the goal, obviously, is irreplaceable power. You get to a state where the entire system has to adapt to you, where it serves your needs, because frankly, it has no other choice.
But the reality? The reality is often total and complete isolation. You end up a slave to the very indispensability you worked so hard to create. You can't take a day off, you can't get sick, you can't ever move on. You're not in control anymore, you just exist to serve the machine that can't live without you.
And the consequences, they're pretty severe. Your peers start to resent you. The organization starts actively working on a you-proof plan. They're looking for ways to spread your knowledge out to make you obsolete. You become a prisoner trapped by the very power you wanted, all while the system is quietly behind the scenes plotting your replacement. Okay, those are all very real risks. I'll grant you that, which is exactly why we have to talk about the end game. See, this strategy was never supposed to be a permanent job. It's all about setting up the final move on the chessboard. This is the part that people miss. This is the critical distinction. The power you build isn't for ruling from a throne forever. It's for creating the ultimate leverage. The leverage to choose your own exit on your own terms. The leverage to name your price, pick your successor, or just walk away entirely. This is about seizing control of your destiny, not just the system you're in. But that just leaves us with one last, kind of haunting question, doesn't it? Once you have woven yourself so deeply into the fabric of a system that you and the system are basically the same thing, can you actually get out clean? Or when you finally try to leave, do you just end up destroying the whole machine and taking yourself down with it?